Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavati Paskacha Disatarine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktavinda. So today we are again looking upon the Vaishnavas and their many, many, many glorious activities and their few, but sometimes very serious faults, so that we may learn from them. So we are very grateful that mistakes have taken place at this initial step of Krishna consciousness going wide around the world. So by learning from these mistakes, the Krishna consciousness can spread less disturbed and more pure, more clear. Honestly speaking, when we talk about the deficiency and the faults of devotees, we may fall into the danger of committing Vaishnava Aparadh. But specifically these talks, they're not meant to offend anybody, but they have a very special purpose. Wake up, wake up, wake up, sleeping soul, and understand what is a real temple. What is a real guru-disciple relationship? What is a protection of Thakurji, the deities, that they don't become private property at some point? Like we've seen it in the Goswami temples, when we came here to India and we saw how Radha Govinda Ji, Radha Madan Mohan, etc., are managed by a group of Brahmins, like a hereditary system, which our Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur called Jati Gosai. Oh, that wasn't really the spirit which we learned in Krishna consciousness from Srila Prabhupada. It was more or less, I got the right to be here, to be the guru, you can give me the donation and I can initiate you, which most likely I won't do because you're not born in India, something like that. So, no spirit of Sankirtan was there. Anyhow, still these temples are running, still the same families are, you could say, in charge there, and still we respect them to a certain way because we are also going there to take darshan of those deities who were installed by Srila Rupa Goswami in Jaipur, Srila Sanatan Goswami, Radha Madan Mohan in Karoli, Sri Gopinath also in Jaipur by Madhu Pandit, Raghunath Das Goswami, Radha Damuta also in Jaipur. Like that, we love to go to these places which are physically connected with the divine teachings. Just like when we go to Mayapur, we love to go to Yoga Pit. We have to go. Lord Chaitanya appeared there. He's lying there on the lap of Sachimata. And in Rajapatan, or Chaitanya Mat, is where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada did all his austerities and he installed the first beautiful big Gaudiya Math deities, had the first eco-farm, Krishna conscious eco-setting farm in Mayapur. There's lots of land administrated by Vinod Babu, later Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj. So, of course we go to these places. But when we hear that the current Acharya, not the current, but the then Acharya, Yati Maharaj, was writing books against the other Gaudiyas, Acharyas, because They weren't under the authority of the Chaitanya Math. We feel a little bit uneasy. How is it the Acharya here does not appreciate our Acharyas? What is the situation? Well, you just ignore it and go ahead. That's what we did. Vishwa Vaishnava Rajsabha had a big festival in Srivasanga with the presence of Srila Narayan Maharaj, Bhakti Vallabh Tirtha Maharaj, Giri Maharaj, a disciple of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. In that big festival, Giri Maharaj said what World Vaishnava Association is proposing and doing is what Vishwa Vaishnava Rajsabha was supposed to do. Therefore, I recognize that World Vaishnava Association is nothing but the reappearance of Vishwa Vaishnava Rajsabha. That's the history. Anyhow, at that time, there was a territorial dispute between Govinda, the temple president of Srivasangam, and Yati Maharaj. So he sent the police to stop the big Vishwa Vaishnava Rajsabha Mela, which was authorized by the temple president. Nevertheless, it was all settled. A funny story came, I don't have to tell here, but the festival went on, was closed, and of course, nobody had the intention to take the temple away from the Chaitanya Math. Anyway, we have here a problem which is called, that is, my mission is the only real mission. Like people say, my mother is the only real mother. And you're right, because your mother is the only mother you got. So you can say, my mother is the best mother. And you can also say, my guru is the best guru, because he saved me. He was so merciful to come down so low to my level to save me. Therefore, I see him as the most merciful. Sure enough, that feeling is appreciated. But if that feeling swaps over to the side, where you say that other gurus are of lesser stature, of lesser this or lesser that, then you have to read the book Sri Guru in His Grace of Srila Bhakti Rakakshi Ramaraj. I will not be able to convey all that powerful divine message of that book to you in a few words. If you want to know the Guru Tattva, what it really means and how it manifests its mercy, that is the book to read. Sri Guru and His Grace. Available in the market and on the internet as well. So, yes, the Guru, he is the loving guardian of his disciples. And that must be cherished to the maximum degree, because we can only advance in our spiritual life when we get the feeling, for my Guru, I have to do everything. For my Guru, I have to surrender. For my Guru, I have to become a preacher, a beggar of love, going into the street, begging people to buy a book, or to come to the temple, or to take a plate of prasadam. By the grace and by the impact of our Guru, we become beggars of love. That takes a lot of determination and a lot of conviction to become a beggar of love. Some of the disciples of Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, my God, brothers, they came from millionaire families. But they left that family, go. I'm going with Prabhupada and I'm going to become a beggar of love. And that's what happened. So anyhow, this is all the divine grace of the spiritual master, which in every Gaudiya Math you will find the same story. So if there is any superiority feeling towards any other devotee group, because they're from Orissa, or because they're born in the Western world, or because they don't really speak Hindi, Bengali, or because their achar is not as paka as ours in our temple, or because they just look different, or because they got so much money, whatever the reason may be, any kind of looking down, discriminating, prejudice against other Vaishnavas, that is certainly not the quality of Vaishnavism of the great devotees. We see that our spiritual master, well, he specifically, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he even went to Muslim countries and initiated temples in Tehran. He sent his disciples to Saudi Arabia, where it is, you get killed if you preach any other religion than Islam. By punishment of death, still Prabhupada sent his disciples. He sent them to preach in Beirut, to many places, to Pakistan. That can show you how much love he had for humanity, wanted to save everybody. Because that is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prithivite Achiyate Nagaradigram Sarvata Prachara Hoivimaranam. So it is not suitable, it is not looking good for a Gaudiya Vaishnava to harbor any kind of feeling that I got it, you don't have it. Even that has come in, and I'll be very careful of the words I'm choosing here, but it has come into the realm of rasic realizations. Basically, myself, I've come from the school of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Bhakti Rakakshi Dhamaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Balabtirtha Maharaj. All of the four would not entertain talk on Manjari Bhav. Srila Siddhamaj, when somebody asked him, he would say, first deserve, then desire. He was very adamant that that's not something we can intellectualize and make it like, I know what you don't know. One time, one of my god sisters who was in that spirit, she said to me, you have to come to my guru, otherwise you won't get Manjari Bhav. I looked at her, I was serving Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, one of the greatest Vaishnava in the lineage of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and I just smiled. You see, whatever is realized on a higher platform should always be kept secret. We know that the holy name can give us everything. That's confirmed by Gokishore's Babaji Maharaj. And if there's higher things to be understood, if we deserve it, if we have advanced enough, it will be revealed. But this idea that we got it because we read this and this and this book, you are not reading it, is all bogus. As a matter of fact, sometimes when I entertained conversation with such people, they were saying, yeah, have you heard about this and this and this and this in the Leela? And I had to say, yes, I read it in Srila Prabhupada's Krishna book. There in the Rasa Leela description, he has given so many informations of the feelings of Radharani, the gopis, etc., etc. We are not deprived of anything, but the way to handle it, and actually even worse, this type of high topics was used as a recruiting technique to make you insecure that you're not getting any higher bhakti if you're going to stay in this environment. Never come over to our group, join our group, then you will get access to this higher truth and you'll be saved. It doesn't matter that you rejected your sadhus, your diksha guru, that didn't matter. So that's very dangerous. That is not very suitable for a Gaudiya Vaishnava community to work in mutual respect and also in for the sake of the common project. It's actually not nice. We have common causes to address, common causes which individually we cannot handle. We just cannot handle them. That is like cleaning of Vrindavan has to be done by all of us together. I'm very sorry, but it's a big mistake. Many of the devotees, even you go to big temples, even big ISKCON temple, and the street in front of that temple is dirty, as if there's no public or private worker for cleaning up. Sounds crazy, but it's a fact. You can see it in Vrindavan yourself. And the Gaudiya Math is not much different, because if you go to the Bandar, you will see thousands of plastic plates are being used for the distributing of this wonderful prasadam. And where do the plates go after that? Well, in the street. And many times they end up in the Yamuna. We could use other type of plates. We could use stainless steel plates. We can use leaf plates, banana leaves. There are many options. But it has become a fashion to use silver plates. That's not silver plates, that's aluminium poison in plastic. That is not healthy. This is not sattvic, it is not paka, it's not nothing. It is simply a misinterpretation of how to host a visitor or how to eat in a very healthy way. Because plastic bottles, when they're standing in the heat, the plastic poison oozes into the bottles, and those who drink that water later are drinking poison. Have you ever heard that? Do you know that? Have you had an Istagosti discussing that in your mission? Have you made a strict rule not to use this, to be very sattvic, very clean? Then means you understand what I'm talking about. Actually, I identified so much with this subject that by the grace of my Guru Deva, I became the coordinator of the environmental committee of the Vishwa Vaishnava Rajya. That's why I dare to speak like this, and not in the spirit of criticizing, in the sake of serving Yamuna ji or Ganga ji in Mayapur, the same. These plates, once they leave your temple, you don't look at them, you don't find out what's happening to them. In many temples, you know what they do? They burn them. And when you burn plastic, all the poison of the plastic goes up in the air in the smoke, and then it falls down on the fields where you're cultivating your vegetable. Microplastics, etc. I don't want to tire you with this, but this is really a very important thing. So we have to correct those mistakes. That's all. It's not that we are better than you because we are more conscious. No, just it has come to us to be conscious of this, and we are sharing it with you because that is the duty of somebody who knows something, to share it with somebody he loves and who apparently doesn't know that or hasn't seen the impact, the danger of it. Because we didn't study it in university, the plastic impact on the environment, microplastics in our blood everywhere. So, yes, we have to learn from our critics. If there's somebody daring to critic, like I'm doing now, and begging excuse from anybody who may feel a little offended or ignored by that, then we should listen carefully. Maybe the critic has something to say which our followers don't dare to say. They may know it, but out of submission, they may not say. They don't want to argue with their guru or with their GBC or their temple president. But we only learn when we have a critical review. In the material world, companies, they pay big amounts of Lakshmi so that independent observing companies come in and tell them, how good are you managing? How good are you working with your workers? What is the degree of giving them autonomy and self-respect? How much do you have people grow, etc., etc.? People have to spend millions of dollars to get an evaluation. But in our Vaishnava missions, we hardly have regular istagostis to hear, to review what we are doing with our own people. Of course, that is mission by mission. I don't know. Maybe your mission does have very sophisticated istagostis and reviews these things. But I've seen that many devotees, they are kind of anti-istagosti. They don't like to analyze, evaluate, to think about everything we are doing. So I'm a critic, and I've offered to my ISKCON fellows, my God brothers, many times, come on, invite me. Invite me for a conversation. Let's evaluate how much justice is going on in your relationship with your devotees and with your God brothers especially. Do you realize that you have tortured your God brothers to that degree that finally they had to run away from your institution? And the only thing they got in your institution is once a year, Jaipataka Maharaj in Mayapur, inviting all the God brothers for a big feast financed by him. Well, very nice that he invites his God brothers for prasadam. But who are they, those God brothers? What injustice has been done to them that they were not encouraged to preach and take up responsibilities? Just because of this original disease, that it was not understood that the new guru has to open a new temple and not sit on top of the others and telling them, if you don't treat me like the supreme authority right now, you better get out of here, because I cannot work in this environment if you don't accept me as the authority. And that has been so painful that many people, they cried and cried, but they couldn't go against their conscience and had to leave and went to another country just to find out the same situation there. And another third country. Actually, we tortured our God brothers to that degree that they became hopeless, many of them. Totally hopeless. Yes, the mission is still big. Mayapur Vrindavan is still standing high. And admittedly, at least in India, some sanity must have come because they've spread so successfully, making so many beautiful temples. The quality of the life inside that temple, I cannot speak about it. I have no personal experience. I know that Lokanath Goswami's disciples, they're one group. Then there's Bhakti Charu Swami Goswami disciple, and there's Jaipataka Maharaj disciple, and Gopal Krishna Goswami. And they don't associate with each other very much. As a matter of fact, they're rivaling. And who knows who's controlling what temple, etc. Now, I must tell you one thing that is very painful. That was going on while Srila Prabhupada was on the planet. I was the Sankirtan leader in Northern Europe. So I had to go every month to England, to Holland, to Belgium, Scandinavia, Germany, Switzerland, Austria. I was circling because I was coordinating all the book distribution in those countries. So then there was a change of GBC. All of a sudden, the England and Holland, Belgium was given to Bhagavan. Taken away from Hansaduta's management, I was under Hansaduta, the leader, given to Bhagavan. From that moment on, the rivalry was so serious that it was prohibited a Southern Europe devotee to visit the Northern Europe events. and vice versa. There were like two different worlds in ISKCON, zero connection, zero sympathy. It was terrible. Like some madness which goes into the head of people. So then I was told, it's like a personal experience, I was told, what do I think about the German devotees? And I said, the German devotees, very nice devotees. And then I asked him, what do you think about the English devotees? And I was saying, oh, the English devotees, they are so wonderful. I have so many friends there. They are incredible. And while I was speaking, the GBC and his wife at that time, they became upset with me. How can you speak like this? I said, what? I came there, I served there. I went on Sankirtan in the same cars with them. Now, because they're a zone of Bhagavan, now I should think badly about them. What madness is this? Sure enough, Hansadutta, he left everything very shortly after, and Himavati disappeared from the. But they were teaching sectarianism. We are the Hansadutta people, or we are the Bhagavan people. It was mad. While Prabhupada was with us, we had to suffer this madness, this competitive madness. And after Srila Prabhupada left, and they divided the world into their piece of cake for each one of the zonal gurus, you cannot even imagine the injustice which was done to the god brother. Because a god brother is never the guru of the god brother. A god brother and a god sister, they're on equal level. They're allowed to criticize each other. Yes, I can criticize my god brothers. I have no problem with that. I won't criticize Prabhupada's god brothers. I'm not authorized for that. But my god brothers have no problem. And they can also criticize me. I've made so many mistakes in my life. I had to humble down and beg the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So, but the thing is, when you're living in a devotee community, you have to make life wonderful for those who are part of the community. And they made life hellish. And if you wanted to become one of the people going up in the echelons, in their hierarchy, become a regional secretary, also get a big car to drive, also get there, well, you had to be a slave to that zonal guru concept. And when somebody fell down, very interestingly, quite often somebody fell down, they picked another one from their same clan, whatever clan that was, you figure that out for yourself. And they put him in Switzerland, in Germany, in Spain, in Italy, where there were devotees for 20 years doing service, surrendered, very qualified devotees, and they put one of their clan members to become guru and GBC. Until that guy also fell down. Because so many offenses were committed. The offense against Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that is unbelievable. People sent letters to Srila Sridhar Maharaj threatening to put a bomb into his temple. His books, when they were caught in the hand of some devotees, they were torn to pieces and stomped upon them. Oh, this is the enemy of Prabhupada. It's heavy, you're talking about heavy GBC resolutions. If they don't come over from Sridhar Maharaj Mat now and take shelter of a new guru after Jayatirtha went through some difficulty, then they can never come back to ISKCON. These were GBC decisions. I mean, impartially speaking, you have to agree with me, that is not immaturity. it is an absolute non-understanding of what Krishna consciousness is all about. And is it better now? I'm out for so many years. I cannot really tell you, but suspicion is there that the zonal gurus are not, that you can only be initiated by somebody particular in a certain area, but everybody is initiated by a certain guru, and the other guru doesn't have a temple in that area. I remember when Harikesh had some rich disciples in Argentina. So that rich disciple was going to give to ISKCON a big farm. And Harikesh told to Hridayananda, I only get this farm for Krishna if you make me a co-GBC there, if I'm also one of the top leaders. So it was like private property in a way. I know these things pain. If you're a GBC and you hear me talk, you must say this guy should be killed. He's talking, he's putting our movement down. No. I'm putting your movement up by pointing out what should not happen. Devotees should not be tortured. Devotees should not be put into unhappy, inconvenient situations where they cannot continue their spiritual life. That is our duty as leaders. Prabhupada or Srila Maharaj says, happily accommodate everybody. To happily accommodate, that is Krishna consciousness. Have you happily accommodated anybody of those who are your critics? I offered my constructive, critical help. I was not invited even once to be talked to about any issue of what we are talking right now. Not even once. So that is painful because I did give 13 years, the best years of my life, to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But for me, the International Society of Krishna Consciousness is not what the GBC is managing. The International Society of Krishna Consciousness are all those who are Krishna conscious internationally. Because that's what Prabhupada said and wanted. He wanted the world to become Krishna conscious. So once Gopal Krishna asked me, when you come back to ISKCON? I told him, Maharaj, the day you realize that I never left ISKCON, that day I'll be with ISKCON again. But if you think I go back to ISKCON to take a post and I denounce my beautiful Gaudiya Math associates and friends and Shiksha gurus, I cannot do it, I will not do it. It is inhuman to even propose it because Guru Tattva is there. Srila Vaishnava Maharaj became my sannyas and Shiksha guru, and my God, are his instructions sweet. And Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj also became my Shiksha guru, etc., etc. So, so if you don't want to hear your critics who have something valuable to say to correct the situation, what does it mean? How can you overcome a zonal guruship? I will tell you. By letting powerful preachers open new temples and be the gurus there, and not have huge chunks of areas in the world where one guru has thousands of disciples and nobody else dares to do anything because he's looked down upon like he's a rebel, like he's a madman or something. Things change slowly. Jayadvaita Maharaj authorized Kadamakana, his disciples, to initiate. Jayapataka Maharaj now has a few of his disciples to initiate, to continue the clan, whatever. But if a devotee of of another ISKCON guru from another area, if you want to go and open another temple in Mayapur, there will be conflict, can be sure. It becomes again a zonal issue. Who controls this zone? Bhakti Charu Swami was practically expelled from Mayapur because he was becoming too prominent. Anyway, these stories are the immaturity. We are all one family. And if we understand that we are all one family, then we will become happy. And we can positively, properly, happily adjust everything. And that's the purpose of my words. So that we will be a happy, very big, powerful family. Yes, Jayapataka doesn't have any idea of the names of his disciples because he has too many. Same thing happened to me. We need domestic gurus everywhere who are actually known to the disciples, and the disciples are known to the guru, and they're working out, and they get the spirit of surrender alive in that place. That has to happen net by nature. That's why Narottam Das Thakur said, nobody should initiate too many disciples. Otherwise it becomes messy. Please excuse me once again if I say anything. I'm always available for constructive criticism. And I continue this reflection because there's many more things we have to look upon it, how to do it properly, according to the wish of Srila Prabhupada, our Savior, Guardian. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Excuse my offenses, all of you. Manchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo